What's going on, YouTube? I'm back, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the exciting future of Overwatch and the implications of the new enforced 222 role queue future of the game. Now, if some of you guys don't know what role queue is, essentially, the game in a competitive sense is being changed to force you to play only 2 tanks, 2 supports, and 2 DPS heroes. Now, this is kind of an interesting way of, I don't want to say fixing the game, because I don't think the game was ever really like that broken, but it seemed like ever since Brig came out, triple tank and triple support just kind of dominated the game so much, because I don't think there was really any way that Blizzard ever could have balanced Brig or Lucio in a way that would stop players from playing triple tank. Now, I know that these two heroes were never exclusively, must picks while running triple tank or triple support, but the ability for Brig to have AoE healing and Lucio's AoE healing, along with providing armor and a speed boost all in one, was just something that was never going to be bad, and it was something that was never going to be amazing. I mean, having those things in combination, along with a Lucio that is almost impossible to get picked unless you just hard feed, and then Brig, obviously, you're not going to hard feed on Brig. I mean, she has a shield, she has the stun, she has armor, and she's not necessarily a squishy. I definitely would not consider her a squishy. I don't think anyone would. So I think Blizzard had a really hard time in trying to figure out how to balance or triple support and triple tank. I think there was really no easy way around it without nerfing the heroes, and we saw it. We saw Lucio get nerfed, we saw Zarya get nerfed, we saw the Diva nerfs. They were kind of trying to nerf every hero that was played in the triple tank, triple support compositions, or GOATs, we'll call it. They tried to change Zarya, they tried to change Diva, they tried to change Lucio, they nerfed Zen. Everything. They tried everything to balance this, but nothing was ever going to fix it because it's just like fundamentally ridiculously strong. So Blizzard's solution to this issue was to role lock 222. But the benefits of 222 go so much further than just ending GOATs, and I think it's the best thing to happen to the game maybe ever. I mean, the game came out, and I think the game early on was better than it is now, obviously. But in terms of actual additions to the game, 222 enforced just seems like something that's going to benefit almost every single player in a number of ways. First off, enforced 222 with the role preference, the ability to search for your role and have teammates that aren't going to have to fill. You're not going to have to sacrifice for the team. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have to sacrifice for the team, and you still will have to a little bit, but now no one is going to have to make the decision of, okay, well, I guess I'm filling this game. That's never a good feeling. If you guys have played Overwatch for the years that I've played it, I do feel I would consider myself a flex player, and I do enjoy flexing, make no mistake about it, but I don't want to, when those situations come when you're forced to do it because literally your teammates would rather lose than do it, it's not fun anymore. Maybe to some people, but not for me personally. So having a role queue is going to fix that issue, but I also think that role queue is also going to improve every single Overwatch player individually at every level. How is this going to work? Well, when role queue first got announced, and I found out that you're going to have a DPS queue and a support queue and a tank queue, and you're going to have an individual rank for all three of these, the first thing I thought of was, okay, so now, if you guys have watched my stream highlights, you've obviously seen when I go up against a Zenyatta player and I go in and I try to one-clip them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But more often than not, the Zenyatas that I consistently farm all game, most of the time, they're not Zenyatta mains. And it's always abundantly clear to me right off the bat when I'm going up against a Zenyatta main. They position different. They're always looking out for me when I'm on Tracer. Their accuracy on Zenyatta is way better. They always are in a spot where their teammates can peel for them. and they're almost never a free kill. Now, in the future, with roll queue, every single time I dive a Zenyatta, it's going to be a Zenyatta main. Maybe not a main, but you know he's put a lot of time into it, depending on the meta. That is going to force me to be a better tracer. It means no more free Zenyatas. It means for a Zenyatta player, every time he gets dove, it's going to be a DPS main diving him. This is amazing for the game, for every player at every rank. It's going to raise the floor of everybody because you're going to be playing against people that know where to position. They know how to play the hero they're on, which basically means you're going to be playing, for the most part, within a more consistent structure. You're going to be going up against the best players on their position every single game. I know it's going to also make players be more accountable when they're having a bad game as DPS. You know, you're not going to be able to... I'm not going to be able to just switch to Brig if my team is losing. Because if you guys have played on the ladder, how many times, ever since Brig came out, would you be the superior DPS and the other DPS in the enemy team that you're outplaying would just switch to another tank or another support just to save themselves from getting farmed? Well, no one's going to be able to do that anymore. So now it's basically going to be get farmed or lose, because you can never switch now. Okay, you can't go hide behind a diva pick or the random Roadhog pick or the random Brig pick now when you're getting shit on DPS. There's nowhere to hide. This makes everyone accountable, and it's gonna force you to basically make no excuses and bring your best game to the table. There's no other alternative now. There's nowhere to hide for these boosted DPS players. And that's another thing that is gonna improve with 222. Since you have an individual rank for each role, you aren't going to be able to boost someone. Like, if I have a friend who mains Mercy, I'm not going to be able to go on their account and pick Tracer and just win 10 games straight, get her to Grandmaster, and then she just gets to pick Mercy again after I boost her up. Because she's going to have a different rank for support. So I would have to go on that person's account if I wanted to boost them and play Mercy. I don't want to do that. I mean, I know some people will still boost accounts, but I guarantee you it will hurt the boosting community a little bit. I'm not saying it will stop boosting. I'm not saying it will make a significant impact against stopping boosting, but it's definitely a negative thing for the boosting community because no Smurf wants to just go on someone else's accounts and just insta-lock Mercy every game. Or other supports. Like, you want to go on someone else's account and pop off on DPS or random picks like Bastion, Torb and Widow, things like that, things that are fun. So boosting will take a step back. Probably not that much, but it will hurt it a little bit, which is also a great thing about the roll queue lock. And one other thing, and there's more than this, honestly, but it adds so much more depth to the game. Now, if you guys watch me stream, you guys know I usually hover anywhere between 4.2K and 4.4K, sometimes 4.5K SR. And the thing is, while I'm fluctuating between these ranks, I'm picking, DPS, off tank, the random support pick. Sometimes I pick Ana, sometimes I pick Zen. Here's the thing. That kind of takes away the depth to the game, right? Because I have the same SR no matter what I play. I'm not bragging that I'm a flex player. I'm just saying I only have one SR. But since I have a different SR now for every role, if I get to 4.3K and I get kind of bored of the game, I can play main tank. I can try to get top 500 on main tank, right? I have more to achieve, more to strive for. I can try and get top 500 on support. Instead of just getting on my account and trying to get in top 500 before the season ends and then just camping it and just not playing anymore and just sitting on my top 500 rank, I can get top 500 on my DPS and then I can try to squeeze in a top 500 off-tank role. I can then try and squeeze in a top 500 support role, right? So we're just adding more reasons for people to play and more reasons for people to improve. And for me personally, improving at video games is the best reason to play them. I mean, I'm not saying that it's like a noble thing to improve at video games, but in terms of satisfaction, in terms of what keeps me personally coming back to a game, is when you notice yourself improving. Like, there's no better feeling than when you start playing a hero, you kind of suck at it at first, and then all of a sudden, you get all the mechanics down, you get the decision-making down, and then you go from kind of watching yourself play the hero, so to speak, to actually being one with the hero and making plays with the hero. That's one of the best feelings. So now you have a reason to experience that on all different roles all the time. You know, this is something that I felt Overwatch was always missing. And maybe it's because I've been top 500 since the game came out, so it's always felt a little bit shallow. But now that there's so much more to do, I think Overwatch is going to be a great game. Not that it already wasn't, but I think it's just going to improve the game a ton.